Can you hear us, Neil? Testing the mic.
Hey, yes, I can hear you. You hear me?
Oh, boy,
Hang on, we can't hear you.
we've been having problems with these owls.
Oh.
I think this is a different one.
Hang on. Try again, Neil.
Hey, can you hear me? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing.
Well, Neil's talking and we can't hear him. That's the problem.
You might tell him we can't hear.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Neil, so we're working on it.
Okay, yeah, I can hear. I guess you can hear what I'm saying, but I can hear you.
Recording this. Video videos.
Testing. Can someone say something?
I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, there's a chat. Lee, can I steal your password? See if the app is different than the web browser.
Oh, yes, this is a whole lot of fun. I don't have my computer with me, so I don't have my.
Does your phone number end in 32?
Yeah,
Could they text you it?
yeah.
Should work on the web browser, it's already used before, I don't use last one.
Of all the things to happen, Teams not working. There's actually a pretty good chance. You're all set. I'll believe it when I see it.
And we'll leave the web version.
Yeah. Neil, could you say something to see if we can hear you?
Yep, testing.
Oh, we can hear you. God bless. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, so we will call this meeting of the Monroe County Environmental Commission to order. It's February 15th, 5:40 p.m. due to technical issues. We will start with roll call. I am here. Andy?
Yes.
Nolan?
Here.
Lee?
Yes,
Neil?
Yes.
And Peter is absent and Julia is absent. We have a quorum. Moving on to the agenda for public comment, there's a 5-minute time limit per public comment speaker. Do we have any public comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our meeting from January 18th, 2024. Did anyone have any amendments to the minutes? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
move approval of the minutes.
Second.
All right, we will do a roll call. Andy?
Yes.
Nolan,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes,
Neil?
Yes.
And I vote yes, the minutes are approved. We'll move on to report from council, but Counselor Iverson's not here. We'll address that later in the agenda if he shows up. Report from the commissioners, Commissioner Jones.
I really don't have a whole lot to report other than the fact that they are beginning to work on installing our new solar installation components, whatever. One thing that we've discovered that we're a little surprised by is that our connections for electric cars are being heavily used, and we probably need to put in some more of them.
For public charging?
No, they're actually in the garage, the employee garage, and they're planning to put some into the parking lot for here, but they won't be in the public spaces.
So these are employee personal
It's
cars, not
to-
fleet cars?
We're hoping to get more fleet cars going that way. At this moment, we're trying to incentivize employees to go ahead and go that route.
How are you tracking, when you say we have more than we're, like voltage or time?
I
Charging?
don't really know, probably David Gardner, who kind of oversees that, he may have some idea, but I suspect it's just a matter of people complaining that they can't hook up.
Yes.
And other than that, well, I mean, we discussed, I think it's House Bill 1011, about slopes, development on slopes. And I think, I don't know if at that time I had told you about about the amendments we're hoping to offer. It's gone, I think, to the environmental committee, which isn't actually the one that we had hoped it would go to, if I have it all right. Which means that they probably will take it up. And so if they do, we don't, if they don't, then we can kill it. If they do, then we are going to offer an amendment that moves it to 18%. Because honestly, the state says it's not a good idea to develop on over 15%. And that when you get to 24%, it's a really bad idea. So this is just kind of splitting that difference. And then there are also, and of course I don't remember them all exactly, but there's a list of things that would exempt people from, or would make it impossible for developers to develop in places like that. And those had been ands, which meant that all of that list had to be right for them to not develop. We're asking that it get changed to ors, which means that if those apply, then they can't develop.
And these are all amendments that the commissioners are proposing? Or is it-
Well, the commissioners and the planning department
Just the
and
county.
also stormwater drainage. They've all been testifying.
Do we have any, is it in the House now?
It's in the Senate.
It's in the Senate.
It started in the House. The person who beat Commissioner Givens
Is the sponsor.
person who's
Crawford.
put it forward. He has a walk-in basement and I don't know if it's illegal or what, but for some reason, he's very passionate about that. And we suspect just wants to punish Monroe County. But
Is Senator Yoder on the committee it got assigned to? I'm asking because I was wondering if you were working with her on the
I'm not sure.
amendments.
Yes, we are. And Matt Pierce, when it was in the House, he was quite helpful. And then the planning commission has actually done a good job of working out, reaching out to other planning commissions around the state. And really, I don't know if there's a lot of other counties in the state that have quite the overall topographical problems that we have.
At
So,
least relative to population.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So if they can manage to portray this as being an attack on Monroe County in particular, it might help. We're going to be meeting with our lobbyists soon too.
Not to be glib, but when you said the state recommends not developing on slopes over 15%, is that an IDEM guideline or is it a guideline from someone
I
the
think-
legislature
I
might actually respect?
I believe it's IDEM.
IDEM?
I'm pretty sure it's IDEM, yeah.
Okay.
And
Anything else?
I don't think we have anything else extremely environmental going on at the moment.
Any questions for Commissioner Jones? Thank you.
Mhm.
Moving on to to reports and comments from commission members. Does anyone have a report and or comment? I will say I did not attend the Sustainability Commission on Tuesday because I don't know if I'm on the Sustainability Commission. So,
We need to appoint you.
okay,
And I will remind everyone that hopefully we'll do that on Wednesday.
okay, just before next March.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
And you can go, I mean, it's open to the public.
Yeah, I watched,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to show up and be like, hey, I'm gonna be here and then not. end
Yeah.
up-
No, that was
Commission.
actually kind of a big, well,
I don't know that I ever
you
was
were
appointed.
never properly appointed. And
I was just told, Kate
it
just told me
may
that I was
have
on the
been,
commission, I said, okay.
it may have been because I was still kind of new on the committee
Yeah.
and new as a commissioner and didn't realize we needed to appoint. Somehow it just slid past.
Called by a county council person.
So,
Is that
yeah.
official?
So this time I decided, okay, I'm going to ask, and we do need to appoint you, but I don't think there's any problem with it.
So I bring that up. And then one thing I mentioned to Neil to discuss is way in the future. It's not relevant right now, but we are disappointed that we meet the same time as the city EC because it prohibits communication in a lot of ways, because I oftentimes, like I had them reach out to me about coming to talk to them. I was like, I can't because I have to be here. And when I was on the city EC, we used to send people to the county EC meetings as like a liaison.
Yeah,
And so I'm hoping when we set the schedule for next year, at the end of this year, we can work with them to try and find a time that would allow more collaborative work
yeah,
instead of
that's,
siloing us.
we moved it from Wednesday to Thursday because on Wednesdays I often have as many as 5 meetings and this is the last one and I tended to not be at my
On
best.
my day today, I had 5 meetings in a row.
Drooping violet by the end of the day.
It's,
Wednesdays are my worst, so I can sympathize.
yeah, so we moved it to Thursday, so I'm a bit fresher for these meetings.
But yeah, I've been keeping up with it. City EC, and I sent them a summary letter of things that we've been discussing, just so they know.
Uh-huh.
I also was
Great.
letting them aware of the Project 46, because they were also unaware it was in existence.
They didn't know
They did
about
not know.
project. Okay, this is really,
Marketing for that project.
it's something that John Hamilton was trying to do on the quiet.
Yeah,
apparently.
I talked to the senior environmental planner, she goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Linda's the liaison to that, and I used to send her our agendas for this meeting too, I sent it out to the group, but I've been doing that.
She was like, I heard about it, but I didn't know we were involved, because she had never been approached about it professionally.
Yeah, I think it was just the mayor's office.
pardon.
I think it just came to the mayor's office.
I think it
and
was,
maybe
and I
the-
think it was kind of a Hail Mary thing, maybe.
I don't know.
a last minute attempt
They really wanted the money by the end of the year.
to have the money to fund projects that he really cared about. And I think that the new mayor is going to pursue it. And she did express concern that we were being asked to put in that much money without being on the steering committee. So hopefully things can be worked out and this can become a good joint effort. I suspect she has so many things on her plate right now.
And she's very deliberate.
Yeah, and it may take a while before she's ready to pick this up again.
I'd rather take a little longer and be a success than rush into it
Yeah.
and have it.
Although it is kind of a matter of getting a hold of all of this money. And
Also
so
fair.
that puts a bit of a rush on it. I'm not sure. I really don't know how long that money is available for.
I don't know either. Any other reports or comments from commissioners?
Yeah, I guess, Andrew, just let me know when would be a good time to raise the point about the inviting the individual, the executive
I'm gonna
director
move
of
that. New business.
new business. Sure.
I'll bring that up. Moving on to old business, ERI Resilience Fellow update. I had this under Counselor Iverson, but does anyone else have any?
I've not been involved with it in the past month or two, so not since last meeting.
I have not met her. Typically, I see the resumes and all of everyone, and I did not.
I've been searching her out in SPIA. I haven't found her yet. I have good news.
Yeah,
Hopefully this comes
I'm
back.
really not too sure what's going on. The last Blue Ribbon Committee, kind of, a few days before it, I got a message from Peter saying he couldn't be there. Would I please come up with an agenda and run the meeting? Honestly, I haven't got a clue what could be on the agenda. As far as I can tell, there's no draft plan or anything yet. I'm not sure what they're supposed to do, but whatever, my husband had an appointment with a neurologist that I needed to go to with him, so I had to say no, and Peter couldn't come, so that got canceled. We're now attempting to come up with a meeting next week. Peter sent out a doodle poll, and when I tried to respond, it wouldn't take my name or save it, so I'm not exactly sure where all this is.
I'll email Peter after the meeting and ask for an update.
Sure.
So yeah, Peter was our point person for the fellow, and now it's Kelsey Patonia, who's the most score person in the highway department for the county.
Kelsey.
So she's gonna be, I don't know how involved Peter plans on being this semester. But Kelsey is like the direct report that Victoria is reporting to.
I'm a little surprised because quite honestly, the commissioners should have weighed in on that.
Who would be the contact?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that came about, that was 2
Well-
months ago that was discussed, so.
Peter had arranged for her to have an office in stormwater. Kelsey is head of stormwater, which actually is not something that the council can do. It's something that commissioners can do. And none of us knew it. We're not going to, she's only going to be there a few months, so.
Yeah. I'd like to at least talk to her at once at some point.
It would be nice.
And it would be
I mean,
nice to invite
I'd
her
like
here.
to meet her.
Well, I thought last month Peter said she was gonna join us, cause previous fellows joined us
Yeah.
virtually.
I will reach out and try to get that
And
solidified.
she really, she's a commissioner's,
Employee.
yeah. And so I'm not sure why I've never met her or known anything about her.
I'll reach out and try to get her here.
Yeah.
If not, at least get an update on what's going on. Anything else on ERI?
Not that I know of. I kind of looked to see if there's anything new in Dropbox, and there's just templates, and
Was ERI the one working on the, or is ERI involved in any way with the vulnerability workshops
Yes.
and stuff that we were doing?
this is all being done kind of under their umbrella.
Kind of under the umbrella. Are there any more steps in that process?
Well, basically, we had the vulnerability workshop, then we had a solutions workshop, and now my impression was that Peter was going to work with the fellow to come up with a draft plan. I think, is that
Yeah.
what you thought?
Yeah, she's working on putting that together.
Yeah,
The vulnerability assessment.
but I haven't seen anything at this stage.
Because we'll definitely want to hear when we get the rough draft
Oh, yeah.
to discuss.
Well, and really, the Blue Ribbon Committee should be able to discuss the rough draft.
And well, I'm not sure, she might have questions that she wants clarified at this, like, before
Yeah.
the rough draft's done.
I mean, the whole project is under the auspices of the Environmental Commission. The Environmental Commission is a commissioner's commission. So county government can be insane.
It's multi-level.
Yeah, and a lot of people elected who shouldn't be.
Well, I'll email.
I mean, like treasurer, those things.
Just the position itself.
That
Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense to elect people to.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about other politicians at all.
Well, I'll email Peter and I'll try to get a hold of Fellow and Kelsey
Yeah,
and then try and get them here at some point.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Moving on to the Blue Ribbon Commission update.
Well, I think I already gave that. Sorry.
Have they met once, right? One point in time, right?
One
Okay, that's
time
it.
before the vulnerability
Yeah,
workshop.
3 months
and-
ago.
And then 2 meetings were canceled, and then this last meeting was canceled, and I'm not sure what's gonna come up next week. I'll have to go back and check the doodle poll again, see if it works now.
Okay. Sorry, all right, taking notes. Seeing nothing else, the development ordinance from Monroe County.
There's really nothing big new that I'm aware of with that. They're working on all the commentary they've gotten so far and reworking a whole lot of it, and we're still hoping to have it finished by the end of the year. And Nolan, did you happen to invite Jackie? You
I did not.
said you would, okay,
I said I would?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you were already in talks.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay,
I will take responsibility for this.
okay, I
And
can.
it's okay,
Yeah.
I'll invite her for our next meeting, and if she can't make it, then for a subsequent one.
Let me know, because I am also in talks with Jen Pearl from the BEDC
Yeah,
to talk about IRA funds. We're playing,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're dodging, we're phone dodgeball, keep dodging each other, so.
yeah,
We'll arrange that when it comes time.
yeah.
Okay. Project 46, general updates and discussions. As you said, the mayor seems to be considering but not acting immediately.
The initial meeting we had with her, she really didn't know anything about it, along with everyone else apparently. And, she expressed interest because of the money involved. And as I say, she agreed that if we were to be involved in it, if we were to come up with that amount of money, we should be on the steering committee. So I assume that if she's, and I really don't know, but I'm making the assumption that if she's going to pursue this, she'll kind of start over again and reconsider the way it's
Structured.
done
and-
and all.
Do you have any news, Neil, on Project 46?
No, not, no, not really.
Okay. I say we just have the commissioners keep in contact with the mayor, and then,
I think at the moment, we're kind of waiting for her to get her feet on the
a
ground.
lot of stuff
and
going
all,
on
and
first
then,
quarter of the year.
You
Yeah.
know, I think there is a bit of a time limit on this, so we're gonna want, probably need to find out what that might be. And this is, the infrastructure and what, Inflation Act or whatever that's called.
To the IRA.
Yeah.
I'll email, Sean, I think their last name's Mia,
Mia? Mhm.
and ask if they know when the time limit is on any funding or opportunities that
Yeah.
are essential for the project. Because if they tell us we need to get done by April,
Then
that
I
speeds
think
things
we
up more
can't-
than if it's
Probably can't
by
happen.
December, yeah.
Yeah, and as I say, as far as I know, the mayor has not really delved into this yet.
We will keep
a-
dialogue channels open.
Kind of question, which is, would it be possible to work with the fellow from ERI, given ERI's, given that that is a lot of what their world is comprised, to work with that fellow to also aid in developing some kind of vision or something to that effect regarding Project 46? Because this is, this is the wheelhouse of ERI.
It's, that is an interesting idea. What we would be doing then is kind of taking it out of the city's hands. And so far, this has been a city project. And
Yeah, I think the
I
fellow has plenty enough on her plate as it is, and she's got
Yeah.
kind of her marching orders, and it wouldn't really be,
that's
wouldn't be
not a
pertinent to
part
what she's
of
doing.
what her fellowship
What her scope
requires
was.
her to do. So.
Although I am intrigued by the idea of turning it more into a collaborative city-county thing, but
Oh, I
Just a city
think
thing.
that would be really nice if we could do that. I think maybe we just need
Devil's
to
in the
wait for
details.
the mayor to have the time to start thinking about it and,
And yeah, at this stage, we need the commissioners and the mayor involved in the discussions, not
Yeah.
some fellow that
yeah,
doesn't have any.
could also always invite a representative from the mayor's office to one of these meetings, just to discuss the
Um,
essence of the,
I think it might be nice to ask them if they've discussed it at all.
well,
so
fair,
far.
that would be part of it, yeah, but
Yeah,
if they're like, we're working on it, it'd be nice,
Yeah.
have someone show up, just so we can convey.
and to let them know that while earlier we were not anxious to do that, we're a lot
Very
more
much interested.
open-minded
Yeah.
at this point.
Lee, in your talks with Mayor, have you been given any kind of insight into next steps other than kind of just sitting in, like, I guess in a sense of waiting and seeing what next steps are? Does that make sense? Like, how do we get out of this kind of
Well-
waiting and seeing cycle?
Purgatory.
Yeah, purgatory. Yep.
Yeah, I think the problem is that the mayor knew nothing about this when she took office.
Apparently,
And-
neither did any of the city staff that are rank and
Right,
file.
yeah, and a lot of the city staff has changed and whatever. Sean is still there, so, maybe it would be worth reaching out to her to find out if there is anything going on with it. But as far as I know, at this point, the mayor has not made this a priority of hers. And I think it would be better to let her, I don't want to take it out of her hands. So, I think it would be better to wait and give her the opportunity. Also because, this is reaching out to other communities and all, and that's all been done through the city. So,
Well, I guess another question is, given the time constraint of available funding, because that is a time constraint, certainly, would it make sense at all in kind of the near future to issue some kind of statement from the commission to the mayor regarding kind of just I guess, request for, I don't really know what the request, how would we phrase
Just
really,
like a
but
resolution of support.
just
You know,
yeah. Yep.
in a way, I kind of think well, in the first place, I think we should reach out to Sean and see what she knows about this now. In a way, if we were to make a request like that, it would be awfully nice if the City Environmental Commission were to join us with that. Because we don't really want to come off as the county trying to put pressure on her. But if the city EC joins us, then it's more like the community saying, this is something we're interested in.
Okay.
What is the time constraint that you all are worried about?
I
We
don't
don't
know, I'll have to ask about that.
We assume that at some point.
Probably
the fund-
IRA funding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we don't know when.
I
The IRA is not clear on anything, so.
assume probably our legal team knows that. I can ask them, and if they
Okay.
don't, they'll find
Well,
it.
and I'll reach out to Sean and ask time constraints.
Mhm.
Is the city currently doing anything with this? Do they have any concerns or ideas involving it? And then from there, we can decide about reaching out to the mayor's office, reaching out to the city EC, resolutions, et cetera.
Yeah,
But first we need to figure out if there's actually a time crunch or if we're
right,
worried about nothing for right now.
I think that's a good way to approach it.
Okay. So I'll reach out to Sean about that and then I'll keep you on the loop via email.
Okay.
Anything else on project 46? Okay, moving on to new business. Before we start, I'm gonna ask for unanimous consent to add 3 agenda items to new business. None of them involve votes on decisions. They're all just discussions. That would be discussions on guest speakers, Senate Bill, I think it's 2990, and the 2024 EC meeting schedule. Any objections?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the first item of new business, which is 2024 planning and opportunities discussion. When I was chair of the city EC, and long before I was chair of the city EC, they always have at their first meeting of each year or second meeting of each year, they call it a bucket list meeting, where before your time on the commission ends, what would you like to see achieved at the city? I propose the same conversation starter here with, is there anything that anyone has that we're not currently working on, or that we are currently working on, that you are passionate about us pursuing or looking into or collaborating with someone on? The sky's the limit. But it's a good idea, I find, to have this discussion because it avoids lulls
Yeah,
where we're all just spinning our wheels in July or whatever.
I agree. We tried that about 6 years ago, and it just, well, I think maybe the commission was a little less disciplined then. But it just, were you, yeah, you were there then, weren't you?
I'm not sure what,
When, we had our illegal meeting, at the bar.
it was a private room behind the bar, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. And I was very new to the commission, new to being a
I think that just
commissioner.
started, yeah, that was Babe Warren.
And, yeah, I didn't realize that public meetings had to be held in a public
You have a certain number of
space,
people, yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So that was a pretty illegal meeting with everyone
With the best
drinking
intentions.
their beer or whatever, and not much of anything was accomplished. So, and that just kind of continued. At that time, we were pursuing the Houston South.
Hmm.
And that was kind of the overarching concern. Is that the way you remember it? Yeah.
Yeah, there was some friends of Lincoln or people on the commission, and that was their big.
Yeah, this is by no means a binding list.
No,
It's just it's good for both, if we have a lull and we can pull out a new project in July instead of just being lame ducks until December. But also, it's good to know what people are interested in. So if something comes up adjacent to something you're passionate about in the future, we can work off your strengths and interests so you're not as bogged down, so to speak. So like mine, for example, would be working more closely with other county boards and commissions or offices on decisions they have that are of interest to the Environmental Commission in an advisory role. So like when stormwater or planning or so many, basically everything has an environmental impact, which is what.
And actually that was something that I encouraged real early on, because there is such a disconnect with the beginning of things and when they actually start to take place.
Mhm.
And most people aren't aware until they start to take place. And by then, it's typically gone so far that it really can't stop. And
It's like that city monument. No one cared until it started to happen, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's the worst thing in the world.
yeah. So I kind of, I just felt that, we needed more of a, well, I would say environmental focus
Mhm.
to some extent, but we also needed to be tracking things from when they very first start happening, which sometimes means on the drainage board,
Mhm.
which is becoming increasingly important when it comes to development, because a whole lot of our problems have to do with flooding. Stormwater Board, Plan Commission, its various subcommittees, the Rural Development Commission can be a really important one. Things can kind of get started there and they kind of, without anyone quite knowing about them, they kind of take off.
Mhm.
So honestly, I think it's worth trying, at least looking at agendas.
Yeah.
For all of them.
And it's, and to your point, it's easier when like a decision's being made at the beginning to come in and say, hey, for example, you
Yeah.
should plant more trees at this site,
Mhm.
than at the very end being like, hey, you should try to fit in
And that does
25 more
remind me
trees.
of one policy thing that I'd be interested in working on is we do not have an official tree policy. As commissioners, we care a whole lot about that and always make sure that all trees are being replaced, probably with even more varied species and all. But we aren't going to be there forever. And it would probably be a good idea to actually develop a tree,
Second that.
yeah. And some of that has two different aspects to it. There's one, we have to go to someone's property and remove their tree. And often it's a tree in the easement.
I was gonna say
which means
easement trees.
They have no control over it, however upsetting it is to them. But sometimes we even have to go on to their property and remove a tree. And so we really need to know what we'll do for them when that happens. And then there's when we're just doing a project and trees in the easement and, you know.
Parks and stuff.
And along streams and things like that, and they need to get taken down.
Yeah, that was a big issue during the, forgot what road that is, it's going across 69, but people were upset about that.
Oh, yeah.
Developing that, and scraping the trees and don't have a replacement policy or anything.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of a residential urban forestry.
That, but then also when, like, the stormwater has been working on Stip Creek, it's called, which is a very unfortunate area where the dozen houses or so on the other side of the creek are at times cut off for up to a month. Can only get anywhere by taking a boat, by using a boat. we've been working on that for a while, and we're now at a point where we're having to take a whole lot of trees down. We're going to have to raise the road and kind of create a bridge and change the drainage and do all kinds of things there. And,
So like a mitigation, or what do they call it for what? Yeah, it's wetlands mitigation.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so we obviously can't put trees back right there. So we have a different property that we're going to plant a whole lot of trees on. We get a number of properties from the state, just little isolated areas that they kind of took over with eminent domain while they were doing I-69.
Mm,
And they're kind of slowly turning them back to us. For the most part, they can never be publicly used. Although there's one where we're trying to change that.
is that because of like safety or is it like a law?
I really don't know where that came from, but, so, you know, we can go and increase the habitat there and make those plots more environmentally beneficial. And so that's one of the things we do at times.
The city has a tree commission that they
I know that,
have under the Parks and Rec Board, I think.
Yeah.
And they have a
well,
30-page tree
they
manual.
have an urban forester.
They do have an urban forester, yeah.
Really, which, of course, well, we aren't even urban. I mean, we are, but they have their urban forester. So,
Yeah, theirs is 2 appointed by mayor, 2 by council, 1 by the Board of Park Commissioners, 1 by the Board of Public Works, and 1 by the Environmental Commission.
yeah,
And then the urban forester is a non-voting member. But that'll be a way to make sure there's at least something there when all the commissioners are gone. Because if you make a manual now,
yeah,
it
I
could just be
think,
in a drawer in 20 years, you know what I mean?
well, I think what we want is to create an ordinance so that it actually becomes law. And I think the other commissioners are interested in this. Whether or not, if we can come up with something that they'll agree to. So, sometimes if things get too pie in the sky,
Yeah.
they really don't want to go along with it.
Yeah. I just think because an ordinance is great, but things need to be updated every so often, and it's really easy for stuff like that.
They can be, and, but it makes it much harder to decide, no, this isn't what we want to do,
Fair.
so.
We can definitely look at the city's manual.
That might be
For
a good
ideas.
idea, yeah. And then ultimately, we need to work with our legal staff to
Yes.
really put one.
They have, in the city tree manual, they also have relevant parts of the city code
Mhm,
that we could just look at for inspiration for
Mhm.
county ordinances if we decide to go that direction, working with legal, of course,
mhm.
because county's different than the city.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that would be something that it will be valuable for the commission to turn their minds to.
Nice, I like that one.
Potential for other idea would be, when I first joined, Peter brought up the idea of, people bringing ideas for IRA projects. So if there's any way that we could be engaged with whatever projects are funded in Monroe County, I don't know what that involvement means, but
At the moment, what we're looking at is, we've used ARPA funding for the solar project, but we could get a lot of IRA funding to kind of replace that ARPA funding and then replace ARPA funding for more solar. So that's one thing we're working on right now.
The fungibility.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention I can hopefully maybe comment on a potential lead on that in the future, on our next item of new business, but I do have to head out of here. Unfortunately, I have this National Town Council meeting to get to, but if it's okay, I'd like to just iterate what I was going to present in new business and then return to this subject, if that's okay.
No problem.
Yep.
So So one item is the lead, which is you may know his name is let's see here, Alex Crowley.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe a familiar name to you. He's the executive director of the Indiana Energy Independence Fund, which is a green bank, and it's kind of IRA adjacent, kind of nonprofit. But he agreed to come in within the next couple weeks and speak with us about this very issue, about thinking of projects that we could, get going, and projects that could be funded through the IRA. So I just wanted to mention that, and maybe we can invite him to speak at our next meeting next month. And then lastly, I did send an email to all of you regarding a resolution from the Environmental Commission, proposed resolution for the support of S2990. For those of you who may not know, I do work full-time as staff at IFA, Indiana Forest Alliance, and we were lucky to be able to get a bill introduced, Eastern Wilderness Bill, into Congress, and it's certainly a lot of hard work. And the Monroe County, the Board of Commissioners, and the council, thank you, Lee, for getting that resolution passed. And I would just like for the Environmental Commission to follow suit and just open up for discussion. Maybe we can take a vote on it next meeting. And I know, of course, I'd like to answer. Hopefully, I can be a resource and answer any questions relating to that.
Yeah, that seems like a very appropriate
Mm-hmm.
action for us to take.
I have no problem with that. I know Andy wanted some more details.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would want to see something written up.
Yeah. Yeah, but rather than, me just agreeing to sign something, I'd like to know more about the project and everything, so.
Yeah, okay.
Like an info sheet or packet or something if you have from your work, or.
Yeah,
or
absolutely. I can send everyone here materials related with a fact sheet of sorts, and I can also send. I know I had sent the resolution that's passed by Board of Commissioners, but I can send. I can send any additional materials, some kind of fact sheet that you're requesting.
Yeah,
And of course, next meeting I'd happily answer any of those questions that you do have, because I'd like for everyone to be able to discuss it and hear everyone's questions and concerns.
I'd appreciate any links or leads towards impacts assessments or any of the environmental assessment that's been done.
I think he's concerned about the recreation area specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Is the concern? I guess I wish I had more time to get into this, but could you spell out your concern a little bit so that I can maybe point
I think my concern is mostly just my personal lack of information or knowledge regarding what impacts this recreation area will have versus existing management conditions.
Where it's going, what it's replacing.
Yeah, exactly. Where's it going? What's it replacing? How are things going to change? What does that mean?
I see. So essentially, the NRA it's the way it's Hoosier National Forest right now, and the way that it's to be managed differently is that in the text of the bill, it protects the water quality of Monroe Reservoir into perpetuity, and it also establishes a federal advisory committee that is made up of local landowners, people like you and me and Andrew and Lee, local government electeds, and even individuals from environmental organizations to be a part of that federal advisory committee to determine exactly how the NRA should be managed. So essentially, it's going from although it kind of is in the bill painted as this kind of recreation area, right? Essentially, right it's going to be the same kinds of things you can do there now, except it's just protecting water quality into perpetuity in a federal advisory committee. And that's separate from the added wilderness, which you may have noted. but that is the difference.
Thanks.
But I'd certainly love to get you guys fact sheets for it.
Yeah, I'm also just curious if there's any new buildings or roads or anything
Yeah.
with the recreation area that we need to be aware of.
Infrastructure of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I can set up some documents with that.
Cool. Yeah.
And with that information, I guess you can draft something that we'd actually be voting on, that you can give us, send out, with some plenty of lead time for us to look over.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Like a week or two before the next meeting, preferably.
Mhm.
ASAP, I'll say. Anything else, Neil,
And
before you?
Neil, you know the whole format, I think you did it for us before, the whole format for a resolution.
Yes, yeah, I wrote that one. I drafted
Okay.
that one that you guys.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's good.
Cool. Anything else for Neil before he has to run? Anything else from Neil before you run?
Nothing else from me. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Taking a step backwards, anyone, so you mentioned IRA funding.
Yeah, or just any kind of engagement with whatever projects are actually funded would be kind of fun, or just, to keep comprised with what's going on.
Keeping us in the
Well,
loop.
Yeah.
and we could also think of projects that we'd like to see.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Forgive my ignorance, does the county have like a designated grants officer or like a lead point person on IRA funding, or is it just department by department?
Well, the auditor's office tracks all of that, and they do have a grant person there. But for example, with the ARPA funding, that is so complex that we had to hire an outside, really finance group to interpret everything for us and make sure we were actually doing the right things the whole time. And this sounds big enough to me so that I suspect if we really get going with it, we might want to do something similar. But I have no idea. I mean, with ARPA, the regulation, all of the parameters surrounding it were so complex. I don't know if this one will be the same or not.
IRA seems pretty complex. People like
Yeah.
know most about it.
My impression from it is not even so much complex, it's vague.
Yeah, well,
Which
and
makes it
There's
complex.
hundreds of programs you can get funded
Yeah, it's very
through.
specific.
Yeah.
There's like no list anywhere of all of them. You have to like
Yeah.
track them down. It's hard.
that's kind of the way ARPA was at the beginning, and then they kind of kept on adding to it and making it clearer and clearer, but I'm surprised that they haven't done that. Don't seem to be working on
I think
it.
some of the vagueness just comes from just how much money there is.
And who gets it, and
Yeah.
with ARPA, it was nice because we were just told, you get this amount of money. And the problem was how to spend it.
It's a good problem.
Nolan, could you, in the minutes, if you haven't already, just mark down that Neil left around 6:30? Thank you. And then the only person who hasn't submitted an idea is Nolan. But if he doesn't have one that hasn't been discussed already, no pressure.
Well, it might be good, you have, the other commissioners are interested in, we are advisory commissioners, we hear from you, but I don't know if you all have other projects you want us to tackle, but also, I guess beyond that, we talked a lot in the past about trying to figure out what people in Monroe County want us to focus on, and trying to form some sort of relationship with them, but that's always been kind of a sticking point. It's not like we have a big social media profile or any sort of like
Large
profile.
attendance from the public?
Yeah,
So we talked about trying to do a survey at one point in time, but I don't know how beneficial that would be.
What about parsing out the data from those vulnerability and strategy workshops? Because those are the people who would have responded to the
that would be
survey anyway.
interesting, because it got whittled way down. A lot of stuff was,
There's gotta be like
But
a
you
rough,
could
like a
have Victoria
raw
come and give us an
note.
overview of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those are the people who were responding to our survey anyway. I don't think
but I
John Doe.
think in the past, I was on the council when I don't think I was even elected when the environmental commission was formed. But it's purpose at the time was more or less a program that we had with Honeywell to deal with all the county energy expenses, and they were going to do all kinds of things to save us money. And the Environmental Commission was kind of tracking all of that. And I mean, that's in the past now, and our office tracks it, but there seems, at least some people seem to feel that the Environmental Commission is meant to look at how the county's environmental needs rather than the community.
Our operations, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not, that's just
Do
kind
you mean
of,
like government operations versus the whole of the county separate from just government operate, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
well, I mean, the truth is, it's really vague, because this is an impression I've gotten when, in the past, when we brought up, you know, this commission advises the commissioners. And when we brought up certain ideas, at least one of the commissioners has kind of redirected us to county concerns. But I don't think there's anything in our, ordinance that says we need to do that. I'm not at all sure that there's any reason now why we couldn't reach out to the community and find out what although where we run into money is funding, or into problems is funding. You know, the Environmental Commission does have its own money that they can spend if the commissioners agree with it. But I don't think it's a whole lot of money. And, you know, a lot of outside projects are going to require some investment.
Significant funding, yeah.
Yeah.
Seemed like we had maybe $10,000 or $12,000 or something,
I
and then we
think
spent
so.
some of that on the ERI fellow.
We did, and earlier on, we actually used some of the Environmental Commission's money to do the LED lights for the canopy.
Is that a Peter question to find out where current bank account is?
No, I think that's one of the commissioners.
Is it?
I'm actually not quite sure.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking, I think it's the current ordinance for us. Shall serve in support and advisory role to assist the government of Monroe County, its departments, and affiliated entities in improving environmental sustainability and resilience in both operations and capital projects.
Oh,
The commission will support as appropriate and consistent with Monroe County government initiatives, the promotion of a clean environment, green and local business development, and advancement of social equity. The commission shall work to encourage efforts to preserve and improve land, water, and air quality, and improve Monroe County's resilience in the face of climate change. The commission may, subject to authorization of the county commissioners, provide oversight on environmental protection and sustainability programs, and may seek approval from the commissioners to undertake other duties, and may undertake duties when directed to do so by the board of commissioners. It also says we shall make recommendations on the use of the Energy Conservation Non-Reverting Fund
yeah,
by June 1st of each year.
So that's.
I can know that detail.
Yeah.
But that sounds like it gives us a very broad authority, so,
And even broader if we can ask
yeah.
you guys to allow us. Yeah, because I know the city's EC is very involved in commenting on all operations of the city.
Which is, like, I would kind of like to see that. And all three of us are pretty environmentally inclined, so, but all the same, at times it just kind of gives us a bit of protection. Sometimes we're doing things that aren't terribly popular, but are environmentally sound. And if the commission weighs in on those things, that helps. But also, as I said, just kind of paying attention to what's
Mhm.
getting started up around the county.
Yeah, so you had mentioned like looking at agendas and stuff earlier, but what is the best method for this commission to actually figure out what's going on in different departments in the county?
I think what might be best, well, I should talk to Dina about this, but I think we could probably get put on a list to receive all agendas. They would be emailed to us. And we would have an opportunity to look at them. And I think, well, I think that, you know, stormwater drainage, well, we probably want to see highway. Planning, various planning subcommittees. I think maybe Parks and Rec would be a good one. And I think that probably kind of
Covers most things.
it. I mean, maybe building at times, I think we'd know through planning
Mhm.
if there was something relevant with building.
And you'd hope if anyone else said anything with significant environmental impact, we'd hear of it in some form or another.
Yeah,
Can't spread too thin.
but yeah, I think, you know, the more we weigh in on things, and it doesn't even, I mean, basically, you can just tell me what to tell the commissioners when something comes up, and so you don't necessarily need to attend meetings or whatever.
And it would help you guys because you'd have other sets of eyes on things.
Absolutely,
Because it's easy to have things slip by when
And there is.
you're managing a whole county.
So much to keep track of in the county. And,
I believe it. Cool. Anything else on our opportunities discussion? Cool. Well, we'll keep this list to reference and use as we meet. But I like these ideas, especially like my idea and also the trees.
Yeah, I think if we can do that, that would.
Seems like a very doable thing.
It does, I think just, you know, reading the
But
cities
also avoiding.
and maybe looking to see if there are other counties who have done it and what they've done.
When at the city EC, we did a cool thing. I'll ask Linda where she got them. She has a connection at like a state, like forestry service. And at one point, they just gave us like 500 bare root red oak trees
Yeah,
to distribute. And so we just did that. We had people, we like went to the farmer's market, I think, and handed out trees to people who wanted to plant them.
yeah, I think I remember.
It's a good passive freeway
Yeah,
of encouraging.
that actually
Forest.
occurs in the county through soil and water conservation,
Does it?
which is maybe another agenda that we would want to be receiving. They're kind of a funny group because they're really more state than county. It's hard to define just what they are.
Yeah.
So,
I just know Linda was like, we have 500 trees. Can you hand them out on Saturday? I was like, sure.
yeah,
And they're all gone in like a week. People really
Yeah.
wanted to plant those trees.
and that's good, because I'm not sure that the soil and water conservation got all theirs given out.
It's a good passive way of
Mm-hmm.
encouraging trees. Cool. Anything else? So guest speakers, Alex Crowley will reach out to. I'm currently talking with Jen Pearl about green jobs and IRA funds. Hers might be less of a guest speaker and more of a roundtable with us, because she says, I'm not really sure about the IRA, because who is? Fair enough. But she has ideas, and she has insight into the community that we don't necessarily have by ourselves. So I think it'd be good to probe her for ideas and direction.
Mhm.
Yeah, sounds like Alex will provide similar.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And then when I say it wouldn't be a guest speaker, we could possibly overlap her with Alex or someone else. She said, I don't have a lot to present on IRA funds, but I have things that I've talked to you about.
Uh-huh.
So I'll talk to her because we've been playing telephone tag for the last week. She's only 3 when I'm in class. I'm working on it. Okay, and then Senate Bill 2990, anything,
Now, which one is that?
that's the Dean Wilderness.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Recreation area. We'll just talk about that when we have more info,
yeah.
but I'm generally receptive.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Anytime an Indiana senator sponsors something that isn't
Again,
destroying the
I'm-
environment, I'm pretty okay with it.
I'm probably pro it, I just want more info.
Same, I mean, for all we know, they could be designing it to
I
build
think your
a road on a
concern
stream
is-
or something.
Where a lot of people are at.
Hmm.
So it would maybe be good to,
They're
Yeah,
protecting the
that-
watershed and putting like forestry service fleet right next to an active stream or something. Never know. Seeing none, we'll move on to our last item of new business, which is the 2024 schedule. We approved this in January, and then Dina sent me a very nice email telling me that the dates were off. Some of the dates were Tuesdays, some of the dates were Mondays.
What's the definition of some?
It was something. It was enough that Dina emailed me, and I sent her an email independent. I was like, Nolan made that, not me, just so you know. Cause I felt she was mad at me. I was like, Nolan's been busy, we'll work.
I said, I'm gonna send it to her.
well, I suggest that you just put the right dates in.
That's what we did.
Okay.
Stick with Thursdays, right?
Yes,
Because I'm the
it's
one who corrected it.
third Thursday of each month.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Like, I've already made those
I
clear.
didn't check the dates, cause I just ran with it, and then she was like, no, so, but she advised us to reapprove them.
Okay,
So I will entertain a motion to approve the schedule I sent out with the agenda, or after the agenda. I'll entertain a motion on that.
move to approve the 2024 dates for environmental commission meetings.
Okay? Andy?
Yes.
Nolan?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes,
Yes, it's unanimous.
Will's gone, we don't have to roll call technically, just
Oh,
oh, that's
for all
right,
person.
that's right, yeah.
I like roll call.
But
It makes me feel important and
it does,
recognized.
isn't it?
All right, is there anything else before we move to adjourn? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn,
We are so adjourned.
perfect timing.
6:44. Light meeting this week. Month.
You know, we need to